What I tell people is you don't have any issues until you have an issue. And that's just how people work, right? It's all good until it's not. And someone goes and gets a lawyer and sues you. And now you're like, oh, what happened here, right?
Well, hey, welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. And I am so excited to welcome my friend Ciera to the show. She is an HR genius. She loves helping businesses to do better with HR. She's actually a friend of mine. And I'm so excited to have her here on the show because I think, in my own entrepreneurial journey, I didn't know what I didn't know when it came to HR. So I'm so excited to have you here because I'm sure we're going to learn something awesome today.
That's the plan, Amanda. Thanks for having me here. And friend of a friend, thanks for connecting us. But I'm excited to chat.
I love it. I love it. So Ciera, why don't you take 30 seconds and just catch everybody up on what is your specialty? What is it that you are doing in the world?
Absolutely. So, been in HR for nearly 20 years, stumbled into the career, found my niche, and today I run an HR consulting firm based out of Greater Baltimore, Maryland, where we work with small and mid-sized business owners to help them stand up their HR department either as a complete outsource, a resource, or a corporate trainer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you seem to work with people in lots of different ways. I ask people this all the time. It's especially entrepreneurs. Like you said, you stumbled into it. Is there more to the story? Why did you become an entrepreneur and why focus on HR in particular?
Yep. So I started my career in HR, and HR has so many moving parts, right, Amanda? Like, so let's be super clear. Like,
Mhm.
one HR person is not the same as another because our niches might be different, our specialties might be different. And so, found my space and my place where I realized that that seat is very much so next to the business owner as a CEO whisperer, right? Like, I am your strategic partner in helping you make the right decisions to not get sued and keep your people working for you happily. And so COVID happened, and I mean, it was a crazy time. And I think the world was expecting people, especially HR people, to be like super geniuses and know what to do with a pandemic breaking out in the world. And I was like, no, I haven't been in a pandemic before. Apologies, right? But here we are now, we're going to figure this out together. And I think it was such a weird space for people. And I saw a place where there's an opportunity for me to do good with people who want to do right by their people and their teams. And so thus the business is born, right? How do we just do good HR for business owners and leaders who want to do right?
So good. So good. And like needed as well because like you said, the world of, hiring, staying, of course, compliant is so important, but in today's world, it's also super important to stay competitive. If you don't have an environment that people want to be in, you're not going to get the best of people. And if you don't get the best of people, then you're going to hemorrhage the profit. You're going to lose a lot of opportunity and open yourself up to a tremendous amount of risk. So it's a really, really important area for sure. I know a lot of our listeners are maybe earlier in their own journey as an entrepreneur, and a suspicion I have, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but a suspicion I have is that you would rather that people started to learn about HR a little earlier than they typically bring it up. Like, is that fair?
That is a fair statement. So I tell people
Okay.
all the time, if you're starting a business, you maybe don't need me on your first day. But by day 30 of building out this concept of a business, you should be talking to someone because you're either going to need people, you're going to need some extra help, you're going to need some extra resources, you're going to need to think about things that you haven't thought of. And if it's nothing else, then I just want to pay myself as a business owner. How do I do that the right way? You might want to start over here. And there are so many
See,
things that when I talk to business owners, if we could go back, I would have done things differently for you to make it easier for you today.
it's like so many things, the right foundations can make all the difference in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. You know
And
what I
like,
see a lot?
what do you see?
I see business owners who will out the gate hire their family members. And that's cool, right? Like it's totally fine. I get it. Like your tribe is around. They want to support you. They love you. And then eventually you go, my mom is not the best person to be doing my HR. Or my brother is not a good bookkeeper. And you're like, now you're kind of stuck with them and you don't want to be. And now it's trying to figure out how to back out of that relationship without making it sticky and icky at Thanksgiving.
Mhm. That's a big one. And I have worked, well, I'm in partnership with my husband, so there's that. And then I've had my sister working in my company for years. She's no longer working with us, but all good to
Mhm.
to the dear listener. But boy, I wish I met you like back then when I was thinking about hiring and thinking about bringing these people in. Something you said that was so interesting is like just even how the individual pays themselves. Like what's something that you see, especially the solopreneur, not really understanding or realizing about their own HR when they are a team of one?
Yep. So people think that I can just start doing the thing, making the widget, or providing the service. And the reality is, you still need a team of people behind you. And the thing that a
Hmm.
resource of HR comes with is we come with other resources, right? Like it's in our name. And so it's, hey, let's make sure you have the right team of people around you, because typically in a business you would hire these people if you were, Moneybags McGee. But in this situation, you're not going to hire a separate accounting team and a finance team and a bookkeeping team. And it's like, as an HR partner, that's what we can surround you with, right? We can help you find the people who would otherwise be a part of your team, but you still need those as a one solopreneur type of person.
Yeah, yeah, the function doesn't go away. The role doesn't go away. And there's still so many hours in the day. Like you can't be everywhere all at once all the time. And I mean, you really do have this choice. It's like do you want to skill up the way somebody who's dedicated and specialized is skilled up and therefore not skill up in your core competence? Or do you want to find the right person maybe on a more fractional basis that you can share that capability among a lot of different businesses? Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. It's one of the things that for us, it's I want you as a business owner to go do whatever it is you're doing. Go make the widget, provide the service, sell the thing. I'm not asking you to be a marketing team and a finance team and an HR team and an IT team. That's my job, right? Let me help get those things in place for you so that you can go do what you're passionate about and not be beating your head at night and you get your 9 to 5 and now you're 5 to 9 and you got your 10 to 2, right? You're up all day trying to be a business owner. It's like, let's plug in some places here.
Yeah, yeah, so good. So when somebody starts like working with someone like yourself, what are some of the things that you typically are working on right away with a business that's, maybe more established and they're starting to think about expanding?
So the first thing we're going to do is an HR assessment. This is a comprehensive, approximately 30-page report where we go through everything in your HR umbrella and then we say, okay, let's diagnose what's happening here. Sometimes organizations do really well, right? And we give them the score back. That's part of the assessment. Hey, you're doing a great job. We have a few recommendations and we give you those recommendations. Other times we see organizations who are really bleeding out in a lot of risk. And so the first thing I'm going to tell anyone, whether you do it with me or another HR consultant, is get an assessment to figure out where your HR function stands today. And by proxy of the things that we touch, we're going to talk about a lot of things that maybe you wouldn't consider traditional HR.
Why do you think people shy away from hiring somebody, to help with this? Because I've noticed that, among a lot of entrepreneurs, it's like they got 99 problems, right? And but the thing about human capital and human resources and humans is humans are predictably unpredictable. Like it probably does represent a significant expense in an established business and also a significant risk. So what do you think it is about attitudes towards getting help with this sort of thing that are so prevalent? Because, yeah, like, what do you think's up there?
So one of the things I hear most is I have a small team. That's one of the first rebuttals. And the other one is we don't have any issues today. Those are the two
Hmm.
things that I hear most often. And what I tell people is you don't have any issues until you have an issue. And that's just how people work, right? It's all good until it's not. And someone goes and gets a lawyer and sues you. And now you're like, oh, what happened here, right? And then the other thing is if you ever expect to be anything bigger than what you are today, then we should start laying these foundational principles. And that's where I go back to there are things that I would have put in place for business owners in the beginning that as they grew and scaled, they would have been better protected from some of the issues that happen once you get to that 50th hire or you hire person number 101. I would have done things for you to just help then to prevent some of those fallouts for you later on.
Can you give me some examples of something, like maybe some case studies or examples of where you would have put something in, but maybe you weren't able to, or it was a little too late? Like, what are some of the examples of those things?
Easy one, attendance policy. That's the easiest one. So it's me, my mom, my brother, my cousin. We don't need an attendance policy. We don't need a time clock. Everyone's going to show up on time. And inevitably, I guarantee you, your cousin says, oh, it's not that important. And all of a sudden, they stop showing up on time. I guarantee you that's what happens. And then you go and you hire your first person who's not related to you. And they go, man, it's really funny that your cousin gets to show up late every day. But when I was 5 minutes late, you bit my head off. And immediately you have some type of disgruntled employee now who's saying that you're doing one thing for your family different from me. And it would have been, let's just put a simple attendance policy in place and said that when someone was late, we would do this. Or this is what late means. Or this is what constitutes an absence. Or this is what constitutes a no call, no show. And I guarantee you that would have made things so much easier for you by the time you got a little bit further down. And now you're trying to backtrack with all this absenteeism that's bleeding out in the business, and also causing a really bad rub for you and the rest of the team.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, and I think about like a culture of lateness, like that is so destructive just right off the bat. I love that. Do you have any other ones that are just like,
Yeah.
this is so obvious and nobody knows?
You know what's really funny? Time clock placement. And so, if you do have a business where people are going to need to clock in or out, where did you put that time clock? Did you put the time clock all the way in the back of the building? And so now by the time a person walks through the front door, gets to the clock, technically they're already late, but they were in the building on time. And people don't think about it. Oh, I put the time clock in the break room because people can clock in and out when they go get their lunch. But they're not clocking in when they come through the building first thing in the morning. So now that's in an inconvenient place, right? Another one is, how are you tracking your employee files? Seems, oh, I'm just going to take the file and I'll have all the things. Inevitably, however you're doing it is not consistent, and all of a sudden you're missing people's files. You get audited and you're missing things so significant that they're going to either fine you significantly, right? Lots and lots of money, or perhaps shut your business down that day.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. Now, this is really, really significant. I'm so curious, like for virtual businesses, like, are there any things that you think are particularly applicable? A lot of my clients in my community, they're building, online entities, and they're located all over, the country and sometimes even the world, spread across like all these different teams. What risks do you think are particularly a watch out, something to think about if you are a virtual company?
Yep. So the first thing I'm going to put at you is your payroll system. Because when you have people who sit everywhere, and I love a good remote team, right? Love a good remote team. Shout out to all my remote clients. But is your payroll system set up to pay employees in several different states? That's the first thing. Do you know that for sure? And then if you're going to be saying that you have employees who are international, so I've got a couple people who are abroad or whatever, do you have those right types of legal and compliance pieces in place? Maybe you do, maybe you don't know, right? And then the other thing that's going to show up from a virtual team is the culture that you keep. When you don't have a building that everyone walks in, Amanda, there is no way for you to dictate what's happening unless you're very intentional about saying, this is what the culture is here. And so often what I see is things start to spiral out of control because it's like, well, no one ever told me what the real work hours were, or no one ever told me when I was supposed to be online, or what a deadline looked like, or meetings looked like if they were being professionally recorded. And they don't know, and now they do whatever they want, and inevitably someone gets upset and is upset about how someone did or didn't conduct themselves, and it creates a rub where we just could have set expectations earlier.
For sure, for sure. And speaking from my own experience of a virtual team, it's like I think a thing I didn't expect was just how much communication and thoughtfulness would have to go into creating culture and creating, the standards or the expectations of how it is that we do work, because it is extra tricky, I think, when you're remote like that. That's so cool. So, Ciera, like, what's the one thing that you really wish every entrepreneur or business owner knew when it came to HR?
Oof. I guess if I had to give them one, it would be to ask for help. Ask for help. I think so often CEOs and business owners say, hey, this is mine and I want to do what I want to do and I want to run it the way I want to run it and I have a vision for myself. And I say, that's all great. But at some point, you have to ask for the help that you need. And that's what I would advise them. When you get your back's on the wall and something's happening and you just don't know and you genuinely are like, I have a question, ask. Call someone and ask them. And I tell my clients all the time, maybe you don't need us every day, but if you ever just have a question about a people issue, just call us.
There you go. I love it. Well, Ciera, what's the best way for people to find you?
LinkedIn. So we are all over LinkedIn, Ciera Parks, or the company page is Consult with Ciera, or CWCHR.
I love it. I love it. And dear listener, we'll make sure that Ciera's links are all in the show notes around this video or audio, however you happen to be consuming the show. So Ciera, thank you so much for being here and for giving us some ideas around HR. I really appreciate you.
Amanda, thank you for taking the time to be interested in HR, and I hope your listeners got a lot out of it.
I think that we really did. We all did. And by the way, dear listener, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And be sure to share this episode with 3 of your friends who are building a business. They want to be compliant. They want to avoid like the big costs and the risks, and they want to treat people the right way. If that's your friend, then make sure that you're sharing this with them. And until I see you guys again, make sure that you do what matters.